There is no insurance for love. It takes awareness to keep it alive, Sadhguru. And it leads us into this beautiful word, love, which is only available to us when we're in a ventral vagal nerve response, our social engagement system as mammals. And so when you are a 5D individual, you are in a restorative embodied self and an integrated mind, and consistently vibing in this enlightenment, consistently vibing in a state of compassion is easy. For when met with any biological rudeness, that is not transference in a way that we are unaware. Because we're somatic empaths and we intuitively, immediately are aware from the heart of being a person, and you a person, we would not in any way, shape, or form look to retaliate, emotionally speaking, when someone is stressed out, because that's what biological rudeness is. You're not safe in my presence or in this situation, and you are in a defense mechanism. So trauma safety behaviors involve trying to help oneself to maintain power and control, trying to maintain a sense of safety so you don't feel safe in that interaction. There's lack of trust, lack of esteem, and no intimacy. In fact, there is a fight, flight, freeze response. So the person who is in a biological rudeness is not wanting to socially engage, whether they realize it or not. That can just be their adaptive child trying to prove they're right, basically control the conversation and state all the listings of why they're right. So, how many people have these arguments based on their beliefs and other beliefs, and oh yes, the mind of the individuals who are not 5D, by the way, because a 5D person actually is able to maintain a sense of equanimity, a sense of ease, compassion. We do get just as agitated, learning how to work with our own nervous system when we're in the presence of those who are in a harshness. I have had moments where I noticed that I need to learn, and I'm doing my best to try and stay at ease while I have people who are very hyper sympathetic. Sympathetic is a lot. But it's not scary because they are people that are just in a state of agitation, which they don't consider agitation because they don't have this ventral vagal engagement like I do or other 5D people. So they are in, most likely, what are those modulated embodied selves, which is why they're in sympathetic. They're fighting to make sure they can survive. And the only way you can learn how to be in your own restored, at ease, because there's the parasympathetic nervous system branch with this ventral vagal, is where you have the restorative and repair. So you're actually allowing your body to be at ease inside. Modulated is sympathetic, which is the fight-flight response. Now the dorsal vagal is freeze, shut down, and that actually does happen. And it's like this cloud that usually takes place, but the person's still interacting with you. It's just they're not present with energy. They don't really notice it because it's something that they're used to, and unless they can calibrate themselves to get out of those automatic responses, because see, our nervous systems calibrate when we're infants, not when you're an adult. It begins to decide how to keep you safe in your own environment. In the beginning, even before you are born, apparently it affects our parents' surrounding will have an effect on us. So long story short, the 5D person is at ease within their body, and that's why we're at ease with others. When others are not at ease and they're in their biological rudeness, we are okay with that because we're interacting. The mind of people reacts when beliefs are attacked as if the physical safety is being put in danger, but with mindfulness, a person will be aware of their neocortex, and so they can say, wait, I'm having a debate. That's what functional adults do. Again, the adaptive children, no, they're going to try and list why they're right and control, and then make it all about themselves or situations, get all worked up. And sometimes because they will consider you rude because they don't like your opinions or whatever it is that goes on in the mind of a person who's not actually calm and collected and realizing I have another person in front of me, why am I expecting them to think or feel the same way I am? Whatever the topic, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, whatever the topic. If you're a functional adult who knows your own love language, you will be able to be respectful because that's normal. It's abnormal for people to actually be in their self-preservation mode, talking about themselves as intellectually savvy, and yet listing as regurgitation of machinery, because that's what it sounds like at a certain point. It doesn't matter how hyped up a person can get. They look scary to a person like me because I'm 4'9". I'm going to move away from you, but you're not intellectually savvy of anything. You're just a pissed off person who's decided now that you have to prove your truth. And guess what? Beliefs aren't truths, and there's a lot of subject matters out there. So you're one human being out of 8 billion. I mean, the reality is we're going to allow ourselves to be polite and to then move away and allow you to intellectually continue that rigid, non-integrated mind's experience, which is not the optimal well-being of a person. 4D, 3D, and other soul age groups that are in 4D, 3D. So if people move into their functional adulthood, this is where they learn how to be equanimous. They learn how to have engagement with people. And on that note, they learn how to be loving. And that no, there is no insurance of all people learning how to be their optimal version, because to gain an integrated mind and a restorative embodied self requires personal development, and most people don't think mindset has anything to do with how they are behaving with each other, because they don't think emotions matter while the emotions are ruling them, and that's because their body is what's ruling them. And so if, on the other hand, whether through yoga, meditation or not, you become mindful, compassionate, and then you allow yourself to have a restorative embodied life experience, here's where the 5D plane is, and we're going to move into a conversation from that space. So our body is safe. Love is a safe space within us, and it's a safe space for anyone outside. And when we have any person who has anything compulsive, which is a shame that has yet to be resolved, and there's in fact this heart that thinks I'm defective and feels defective. So you can tell them, you're beautiful, I love you exactly how you are. Their defectiveness will make them cringe. So much so that they will point a finger and say there's something wrong with you. Because if I'm defective and broken and you love me, then you must be defective and broken. And this is the saddest thing that a 5D person could ever encounter. But like the Zen tradition story that Sadhguru shares with us, where he says punishment will make somebody rock solid hard, which is what those who have modulated or dysregulated embodied experiences and follow these rigid leaders keep doing, because they think that you need to have conditions in order to grow up, not a soft hand with a firm ability to be present. So being present and attuning and having a stance that is with compassion, equanimity, is very easy. It means looking you in the eye and not shaming you, and not guilting you, and not blaming you, and not faulting you, and not doing anything to cause emotional turmoil when there's no need for it. We're not in some psychological warfare with each other, unless, people who want to be in that, they're all adaptive children. In fact, they're not grown-ups yet. They don't have mastery over their own emotions. That's why they do these types of power. They're not plays. They're just people who are insecure and have shame and don't know it, that in their heart they feel defective. And if they looked close enough, what would arise would be something very, very deep. Loneliness and pure fear, because that feeling, as a 0-year-old, every one of us has an attachment system, and it's a shit. My caregiver can't take care of me. But nope, my brain is not going to be able to say that, because otherwise my brain will just, this is the way Daniel Siegel explains it, and any of the good trauma experts. But I'm thinking it's just the body, like it has to find a way for you to continue to exist. So even if I want to put out all the language, the reality is this feeling of defectiveness, it's an emotion. As a 5D mystic, I know this feeling because I've felt how people feel unworthy consistently over and over and over again, and they just bring out their adaptive child, because this heartbreak, gut wrench, torn apart is an actual, I'm defective, no one can love me. If a person's able to find compassion for themselves, that's why you can only heal. When they use the word heal, it's you being able to bring forth the true self of you is a restorative embodied self with the potential of an integrated mind using left, right mode, being a normal person who can love yourself with ease, not the rock hard stuff. So the Zen tradition, yes, What will melt compulsiveness is basically compassion, and it's not that it will melt or it will shatter in the sense of it's something bad. No, it's something good for those who want to grow, though. The person who wants to hold on to the feeling of defectiveness when their shame cycle is shattered, so they're shown compassion beyond reason in a moment that they know they should not be shown this. They know they should be shown something different because of all the actions they will have taken that will be shameful and will be of guilt and will be proof for them that they're defective, or that someone, this is where the adaptive child controls everything to create the story they want to unfold. And when met with compassion again and again and again beyond reason, they will not be able to hold up the facade of shame. So the person has to recognize, I'm not defective, or whatever it is, again, that their story was, shit, my story is very untrue, this is not true at all. Once dissolves shame, person, if they want to be their grown-up, will be able to start being in a state of compassion and also partnership with those other parts. We all have charge states. We all have the 1 to 3 attached panicky, 3 to 7 shame submissive, the freeze of all ages, the flight 11 12, and the teenager 14 15 16, who's the one who rules the show, adaptive children, until the adult rules the show, and that's where the 5DC person is. So on that note, again, we're safe havens and safe bases for our loved ones and for ourselves, and that's why the functional adult love language is something we love to do and bring to each other and our oversoul. For the mystics, you know what I'm talking about. We don't cancel, we don't have anybody that is not in our love circle. It's all of humanity that is. And no, love is not an insurance. It's in fact something that you can only feel when you're in your ventral vagal, because that's when the oxytocin gene hormone is released, and we love to be in love. So I'm going to read a couple of things for you from the Polysecure book, Jessica Fern. Now, you don't have to be polyamorous. It's something that is based on the fact that we all have an attachment system, okay? And so for the 5DC in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, we love creating secure connections. We're not into the secure attachments because we don't actually look for other parents, attachment figures. We're good with building in time secure connections because it's people participating in each other's lives as safe havens and safe bases. No strings attached. So that means when you can be, obviously though, a person who unconsciously loves who you are with imperfections and flaws and others, people are a plus. And creating and growing relationships, they're effortless. Why? Because we accept each other for who we are. And that's the beauty of being a functional adult. So I began this journey as a teenager, and I find myself more and more in this journey. In fact, it's amazing. And now I have words like solo poly and polysecure to talk about topics that are amazing, because unconsciously loving each other is something that provides a safe haven and a safe base for those who want to tap into their infinite higher human consciousness potential. And the 5DC person in the Enlightenment Soul Age group wants to leave the lovely planet of ours better than yesterday and expanding human consciousness. It's the best gift that you can do. And that's because we lead people to know that their self is not defective. And the ones of us who know that, we're okay with those who look at us, they doubt us, they insult us, they even think we're evil, that we're hiding something. They try to get underneath our skin. You know, the black tinted glasses that have been added to the pink are really helpful. I have talked about this recently because it enables us to know how to disengage from utilizing any person's time in an effort of not their desire. When people want to expand to become their true self, which is a heart that knows, no, you're not defective, but before you can get there, that you melt this shame that doesn't exist outside. It is a developmental instrument of the mind that supported people at that infancy. Again, it's a feeling though. No, the only person who can rework the feeling is the individual who feels it. And that's only if they begin to say, you know what, this is bullshit that I'm defective because I got my hands, I got my feet. And, you know, when it comes to society and humanity, I participate. There's many ways that a person can work themselves into what is more objective than not. And I'm going to leave that and move on with our topic. because otherwise I'm going to keep talking about topics that really our hands are tied. There's only so many ways you can tell someone that they're not defective and that they're unconditionally loved. And as I was saying, when that turns against you and people do revenge, spite, envy, jealousy, and actual gossip, or, there's just so many stories. And the 5D person will have compassion, understanding. Obviously, there are moments where it's like, really? I don't think that's really nice in any way, shape, or form. But because we're grown-ups, and because the part that a person can't take ownership of something like that as an adult, we are going to, in that case, choose the right silence in order to be the actual one grown up. Two, we don't need to prove we're right. We know when we're being treated certain ways. And the reality is, anyone who is not being kind to another human being needs to be met with compassion beyond a reasonable doubt, because that defectiveness is in that moment allowing a person to create another situation that will prove to them in their mental prison why they're so unworthy, broken, or the other person or whatnot. So they will allow themselves to create situations not because of consciously wanting it, because the subconscious says, I don't deserve love, and I'm going to make sure that I prove it. Reproving your story again and again and again. So the 5D can see clearly, but with those pink and dark tainted glasses, we know, okay, wait a minute, let me remove the unconditional love that I'm bringing forth because that's my nature, so that I may not trigger areas that do not want to be uncovered by this human being or these groups of people, because this is the part they don't want to actually go into their emotions. So again, we provide safe haven, safe base by accepting you for who you are and us being accepted for who we are. And that's a safe haven. Furthermore, we'll also be a safe base for those who want to expand. So we support expansion. If the people want to move into their functional adult, they have someone that can tell them straight up exactly what's what. So here, a safe base provides a platform from which you can move into the larger world, explore and take risks, and you get to be supported in that exploration and also supportive guidance, but also being told your BS. So if you have any BS behavior, the 5DC in the Enlightenment Soul Age Group person will let you in on that. And why enlightenment? Because the Enlightenment Soul Age Group person is the one who will not allow their own differentiated self, and that means their own opinions, their own emotions, to affect what they speak. They're going to put the ego self to the side, completely attuned to who you are, what you're looking for, how you live life, because it's your life, not mine. So if you have a shame defective cycle, non-secure attachment, want to stay in avoidance or ambivalence for that matter, and that's human suffering. It's sad. I've seen plenty of it. But you consistently have a way with words, and that's where you consistently have a way to confirm your story. And that would be that people are shitty. Humanity is shitty. The world, everything outside of me. It's not my mindset. My mindset has nothing to do with it. We are obligated to raise our hands, take steps back. Again, allow you to be the love that you want to be, and then allow you to continue living the life that you want to lead. We will not be your enemy, because that would be silly. Why would we be an enemy of somebody who's suffering emotionally and mentally? That's not kind. So we don't build relationships based on trying to tell people who they should be or shouldn't be. If there's any type of physical safety danger, then we will call numbers that we know we can't call. So that means if I know your life is threatened, or if you're threatening somebody else's life, or if there's anything that is not within the rules of the laws that we have. Other than that, there is no need for a friend or a loved one to tell you how to think or feel about life. But telling you and calling out the BS, there's an art in that. And it isn't attacking and creating conditions. No, it is by seeing each other and allowing to support and feel safe to be ourselves again. Because that's the first step to helping anybody to become their own true self, versus you tell them who to be. 5D people, functional adults. Adults are supposed to want to create independence, not the opposite. And here's why a 5D person, especially in the Enlightenment Soul Age groups, create secure connections, not attachments. But for those who do want to create secure attachments, that's where there are a couple of things I was going to share. So for any of you in these last couple minutes that want to have individuals or one individual in your life, this is where the expectations, it's good for you to note it. Enlightenment soul age group people are independent. The other soul age groups, on the other hand, they tend to be inclined to want that type of attachment figure. And so what you can do as a person who wants to have open, authentic, transparent conversations with your loved ones, and so I'm going to do, if you're monogamous, okay, we'll do it that way. If you're polyamorous, it's pretty straightforward. The safe haven is when a person cares about your safety. They seek to respond to your distress, moments of distress. They help you to co-regulate and soothe you. So this is nervous system related stuff. As someone who has panic attacks, I know what that means. It's nice to have someone who stays calm while you're obviously in, and that's not actually, I haven't found that yet. So it's one of those things though. We co-regulate, so it's normal that my nervous system is going to affect somebody else's and the groups. They are a source of emotional and physical support and comfort. Okay, so that would make a person your potential safe haven. Be someone who speaks truthfully with someone else and see what can happen. You do the best you can, even from afar, to be next to each other and to support each other. So it's all emotional, as you can tell. The safe base is the part about where you are supported to move into the larger world and explore your own passion. So your job, anything you want to do. So it's a person who says, go, I am happy for you, and explore other partners for those who are polyamorous. So this is where growing beyond who you already are and being supported in an unconditionally loving way, as long as you call out each other's BS authentically. And that is also very easy, because if compassion is in the forefront, you will not be utilizing a tone that is disrespectful, because you actually acknowledge, I'm a self, you're a self, and we link and join, not merge. So the 5DC person in general will note the difference between linking and joining and being clear and authentic, functional adult love language, while others might not be in it. You consistently are the integrated mind, restorative, embodied self person, so you're safe haven, safe base for your oversoul, for your loved ones. And when you're building relationships, there's only vulnerability from the heart and authenticity and transparency and speaking your mind. And the same thing goes though by listening to what others say. And that listening doesn't mean you say yes or no. It means you look and give that due respect, because everybody is the equal amount of worthiness, which is all of us. All of us are here. All of us are life. All of us are love. We don't need to have insurance. We get to live it because we are humans, and we all know what heartbreak means. So we all know what not to do, and we all know what it means to take ownership and to be able and repair when there are situations that don't go exactly how we expected. Using our words in a loving and kind way, as adults can do. That's where compassion will always be what wins, because love always wins, because social engagement is our nature, not loneliness, not isolation, not rigidity. That's actually an ancient way, and it uses up a lot of energy and is not a very warm and cozy and fun and loving space. In the meantime, I look forward to seeing you on the episodes that are just sound. Well, I mean, not calling, but not video, not seeing. And I hope you enjoyed this one. If you have any questions, reach out. Oh, and this is the book. If anybody wants to get it, it's a really great read. Have a great day.